In this video, I'm going to teach you how to fix the GP40-2s from US Locomotive Works so that they're compatible with Trainz Railroad Simulator 2019 and so that the running numbers and all the other scripts will still work on the locomotive. This is no simple task. It will take several texture error messages and probably at least 4 commercial breaks in order to finish this. But that all depends on how long it's going to take to fix these locomotives. Now let's get right to it. But before I start, I'd just like to say a few things. First of all, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you watch this video to the end, there's a bonus where I helped you fix another problem with this game. These well cars, these 48-foot articulated well cars from CNR on the website Trainz Pro Routes, they have given me quite an issue when spawning them from a portal. That issue is, when I use the instant load command and select load all, it does one of two things. It either loads one 20-foot container on the bottom, or it loads one 48-foot container on the top with nothing underneath it. And it's really annoying and extremely noticeable. So I decided to make a few edits to the script so that when you select the instant load command, it can only load one large container on the bottom, two 20-foot containers on the bottom, or 2 containers in a double stack formation. And I'll teach you how to do that as well. Finally, we can bring an end to this issue. I put a link in the description where you can download these locomotives because US Locomotive Works doesn't exist anymore. I found a website that took a picture of the website and all the links on it still work. So you can still download the GP40-2s up here. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know that I've already uploaded a video called how to sort of fix the US Locomotive Works CSX GP40's for Trainz 12. Now, there are a few issues with this video. The first one is that it's obsolete because Trainz Railroad Simulator 2019 is a thing now, and it probably would have more errors than Trainz 12. The other issue is the thumbnail is really horrible on this video. Luckily, I've gotten way better at creating thumbnails since then, so I could make a much better thumbnail for this video. And the other issue was, to make this video, I was basically holding a phone up to the screen to record it, and that's really horrible. I mean, now luckily I have a screen recorder, so it'll be a lot easier to follow along with what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, look what happens when you hover the mouse over it. That's just horrible. Ugh. I'm so embarrassed by this video. Okay, now let's get right to it. I'm gonna open up Trainz Railroad Simulator 2019. By the way, this should still work for Trainz Railroad Simulator 2012 and Trainz A New Era, because Trainz Railroad Simulator 2019 is really strict. So if you can fix it to work in this game, you can probably work on the other ones too. Now I click on Manage Content to go to the Content Manager. And then I'll probably just type GP40 in the search engine so we can find the locomotives that need to be fixed. Here's what the locomotive looks like right now.
Probably should have just a couple of them that are 5 south there and got it together and been down 2nd Street when we got the side when we pulled out. That's going to take a little bit for you to do the brake. But let me see if I can get the side. We might be able to pull out the side. All right, G130.
Yeah, that's another reason I'm making this video, because when I fix the errors, I also accidentally destroyed the running numbers, so they don't appear correctly. And that's another thing I have to fix. Second
second straight when we got the side when we can pull it out. That's because it's going to take a little bit if you do the brakes. But let me see if I get the side. We might be able to pull it. Southbound Lincoln Slow. Southbound Lincoln Slow. County. CSX detector. Milepost 313.5. No defects. Repeat. No defects. Total axle 330. Temperature 9er1. Link 5634. Detector out.
Okay, the first thing I have to do is re-download these locomotives so that they're in their original form, because I already damaged them so far that I can't fix the running numbers, so I have to re-download them all over again to fix that. One thing that's important to remember when editing / fixing locomotives in this game is opening things in Content Creator Plus will prevent the running numbers from working correctly. I have no idea why that is, that's just the way it is. So you have to edit it in Explorer. Do not use Content Creator Plus or it'll destroy the running numbers. Now I'm going to try what I'm going to do with this Norfolk Southern GP40 right now first, because I'm not using it for anything at the time, so I don't want to risk damaging a locomotive that I'm actually using. So right now I'm gonna test this GP40 for Norfolk Southern and see what I can do to get this to work. And hopefully the running numbers will still work as well. Okay, the first thing that's faulty is one of its dependencies. Wow, look at all those texture errors. That is a lot. This is going to take a while. It looks like mostly we have textures that are missing, textures that didn't load properly, and you'll see later some of the texture.txt files weren't even typed correctly. Okay, so now I'm editing it in Explorer to try and figure out what I can do to fix these texture errors. This is the mesh for the locomotive called shell.im. Now I remember one of the errors saying that shell.night.im failed to load. That was apparently the night mesh for the cab. However, there isn't one anywhere in this folder, so I'm guessing he either forgot to make one or he didn't make one. Either way, there is a fix around that. But first, here's a commercial for you to watch while I explore this cab. You're back already? That was a short commercial break. Either way, let's get right back to fixing this cab shell. I'm going to create a night mesh by simply copying the daytime mesh into a night folder. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name that Night, N-I-G-H-T. Okay, now I'm going to copy the daytime mesh and all of the textures associated with it and put it in the nighttime folder. Now I'm going to rename, or not, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Okay, it's saying that it failed to load several textures, but at least the list is slightly shorter. Okay, still a lot of textures that failed to load. Okay, it's saying that a texture called GP40A failed to load. I have no idea what that's supposed to look like, but Norfolk Southern locomotives are generally black almost everywhere except the wheels, so I guess black is a pretty safe bet. So I'm just going to copy the black.tga and then rename the copy GP40A, and then I'm going to fix this, retype this texture file so that it uses that instead. Okay, before trying this for all the textures, let's first see if it actually worked. So I'm going to submit the edit. Okay. A few errors still pop up, obviously, because we're not finished yet. Okay, let's click View Errors and Warnings. Okay, the GP40A error stopped appearing, so we fixed that. Now I'm going to try to do the same thing for the GP40B texture. Okay, let's see if that solved that problem. Okay, that issue seems to be resolved. Now let's fix the issue of the night shell. I forgot to rename the mesh file to night shell. So let's go to the night folder that I made earlier. And then just change the name of the mesh file. Call it night shell. And I think it's one word, if I remember correctly. It has to be typed correctly or it'll cause another error. Now I need to fix the textures that are in the night folder that didn't load. I can do pretty much the same thing I did for the textures that are in the daytime mesh folder to fix that issue. Okay, I'm gonna open it in Content Creator. Not Content Creator. That's actually what the opposite of what you should do in Explorer, and try to find the file that. Well, actually, I'm just gonna copy the file that I made earlier, the GP40A.tga. I'm gonna copy that, paste it in the night folder. I'm gonna do the same thing for GP40B. Okay, let's see if that fixed it. I may have forgotten to edit the texture.txt file, which would explain why the errors still show up. Let's go back and see what I can do about this. Okay, failed to yada yada GP40A in the night folder. Okay, I must have did something wrong when fixing the texture.txt file. Okay, I'm just gonna open it in Explorer again and try to refix that. Okay, it's time to once again open it in Explorer. Okay, so an environment map.texture. Okay, copy. What am I doing here? Envar map. Not really sure if this is the best way to do it, but it worked. Okay, and replace the BMP with .tga, so it'll use the .tga file instead. Okay, now what? Copy that and paste it in the night folder. Okay, and then tell that one to use the TGA file as well. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what other errors show up. Well, it's less than it was last time, so at least we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Failed to load NV. Okay. Okay, let's edit it again. Oh, there's something called NV underscore map dot texture. That also failed to load. Well, I'll just copy the ENV map or something. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, just copy that. And rename this one NV underscore map dot TGA. Okay, now let's go down to NV underscore map dot texture dot text and edit it. Oh my goodness, what happened here? Yeah, there's a bunch of typos here that have to be fixed. Okay, just say primary equals NV underscore map dot TGA tile equals ST. I'm not sure what any of that means. All I know is that that's what has to be in this folder. I mean, in that file for it to work. Now let's copy and paste both of those files and put them in the night folder as well. Since it's the same mesh, it's gonna need the same files. Okay, just checking and making sure that I have the right folder. I mean the right .text file. Okay, there are less errors this time actually. Just about the GP40A and GP40B textures that are in the night folder, I believe. Okay, let's go to the night folder. Look for GP40A .texture.txt. Okay, now I see what the problem is. I told it to reference a BMP file instead of a TGA file. That was my mistake. Probably made the same mistake for this one. Yep. TGA. Okay, that should fix that problem. Sometimes it takes a while to submit the changes. Oh, it's not faulty anymore. Now we can preview it. Well, we should be able to. Please feel free to watch this commercial while I preview the cab shell. Okay, the cab looks more or less okay. It appears anyway. Doesn't appear to have any missing textures or anything. Okay, let's go to the next thing now. EMD Spartan cab. It's got a lot of missing textures. Okay, I think I might have an idea of how to fix this. Okay, black handle texture. Okay, it's got a lot of textures that are similar to the last cab that we just fixed, so I should be able to just copy some of the textures from the cab shell and paste them here, like the brake handle texture, etc. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do that. Okay, what am I gonna do first? Let's just try opening it. Handrail.texture, but the first letter of a lot of these texture files are missing because for some reason they were typed with a letter that isn't supported by this game. Still not sure why that's the case. Maybe it was just a glitch. Either way, handrails are generally black, so I'm just gonna copy the black file and then put andrail.tga there instead. Some of these texture.txt files are blank, so you actually have to manually type what's supposed to go in there. Okay, what else is missing? Little by little. Okay, just copy black again and paste it. And then let's rename this one. Let's see. Ash back.tga. And then retype this texture.txt file to use the ash back.tga file. Okay, copy ash back and rename this copy ashbits.texture, I guess. I mean ashbits.tga. And then go to the .texture.txt file and fix all of this garbage, whatever this is. Primary equals ash underscore bits.tga. Okay, now what are we doing? Okay, copy this file and then rename this copy ash dials. Oh, that's supposed to be dash dials, apparent. I'm guessing. Either way, primary equals ash dials dot tga. Okay, what other file is missing? Break 01, break 02. Okay, new texture.txt file. I'm going to name this one bonnet.texture. I hate that it scrolls all the way to the bottom when you create a new file. It's really annoying because then I have to scroll all the way back up to find it. Okay, primary equals bonnet.tga. Okay, I forgot that enter also means pause when recording on this computer. After typing primary equals bonnet.tga, I was going to press enter to create a new line of text and then type tile equals st like the rest of the texture.txt files, and then save it after that. I see no one has answered this question yet. That's okay though, because I've come up with my own answer with a little bit of experimenting around. Anyway, let's see what I have to do next. Okay, this GP40 cab shell has a bunch of textures that are similar to the ones that are missing on the EMD Spartan cab. So I'm just going to copy the ones that I need and then paste it into the folder of the EMD Spartan cab to save a lot of time, rather than having to make all of these textures from scratch. And of course I'm gonna check the texture.txt file to make sure it's typed correctly. There's a lot of textures that are missing on here. Fixing it's going to take a really long time. Okay, let's see what other textures are missing up here. Okay, now I'm going to copy pretty much all of these textures. Now let's see what happens. Still a bunch of missing textures. Man, it's gonna take a while. Let's see what's missing. A bunch of them. Man, this cab takes forever to fix. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what else is missing. Map 0. Okay. Load meter, dot texture. Apparently that was one of them that was missing. Okay, let's see what else is missing. Still quite a few of them. Okay, we're gonna copy the gauge textures because that's the one that's on the top of the list that's saying it's missing. I'm just gonna keep doing this one by one. Okay, let's see what else needs to be done. Still quite a few errors left. Okay, what else am I gonna copy? Okay, I'm just going to copy all the textures to save time, because it looks like it needs most of the textures that are here. Okay, a bunch of textures are now up here. Let's see what errors show up now. Oh, I think I accidentally copied the configuration file, which is not a good idea because it would have a different CUID number on it. So I need to make sure I copy everything except the config file. This is a mistake I make sometimes. It's not going to let you commit it if the config file has a different CUID number than the CUID of the object, which is actually a really good thing because it would cause a bunch of errors in the game, probably even some confusion and glitches. Anyway, now I'm going to copy everything that's under the config file. Though I technically didn't need to copy the shell.im file because that's just the mesh file. Okay, let's see what errors show up now. Still a bunch of errors. Okay, let's see what's next. It says there's still... Okay, let's just look at the... Okay, let's look at the errors. Okay, there's significantly less than last time, but still a few textures. Okay, it says the texture file something okay. Okay, some of these textures are not titled correctly, and some of them have letters or symbols that aren't supported by this game because it can't read them. So that's a thing that has to be fixed. So I actually have to go to the texture.txt files and look for any letters that the game doesn't support. Trying to look for the one that it was referencing specifically. Okay. It was saying that the heater texture was missing, or rather the texture file for it. Okay. Okay, that solves that problem. Okay, this one is completely blank, so that's a problem. And this one has non-ANSI characters in it, which is another issue. Let's see what we have next. Okay, failed to load a bunch of images. What in the world is a child image? I'm still not entirely sure. Okay, next image, next texture file. I can hardly read that on my editing screen because it's really small. But it's just another texture that failed to load. Just gotta look for the texture and see what the problem is. I really wish it wouldn't scroll all the way to the bottom every time I copied something. That makes it really... It just adds more time to it. Okay, so... Okay, then I have to make sure I type the name of that texture in the texture.txt file that's associated with it. And there are others I have to do this for too. Okay, this is taking longer than I expected, so I'm going to split this into several parts. This will be the end of the first part, and we'll pick up from where we left off in the next part.